As we always say, but we mean it when we introduce our guests, talking about great partners. Our next guest, Terrell Griffin from Haines City, Director of Parks and Recreation. None better in the business, and I know there's a lot of people in Polk County, but to pull off what you guys pull off each and every year in partnership with so many agencies, and it's timely because it soon will be Thanksgiving, and I don't know if that's good or bad for you in Haines City, because when Haines City sees Thanksgiving, they know one thing: we're about 2 weeks away from the Ironman. So welcome to Sports Central.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
You guys ready?
We are. We're getting there. A couple more weeks, and we'll be ready. It's a well-oiled machine at this point. As you mentioned, all the different agencies that come together to make it happen, not just Parks and Rec, even within Haines City itself, the fire department, police department, public works, and then you throw in the other cities. So it's definitely a collaborative effort to pull it off. So.
Well, if you're just joining us, we're talking to Terrell Griffin about the Ironman 70.3 in Haines City, December really 12th through the 14th, but really the two races are the kids race on the 13th and then the main race on the 14th.
Correct.
But talk about that, because really the swim portion is completely in Haines City. Part of the run is in Haines City, or most of the run is in the Haines City area. But that bike course, it goes way south. Talk about that and why it is important to coordinate, because in case you didn't know and you haven't driven around Polk County lately, there's a lot of new rooftops and a lot of new communities that weren't there 10 years ago when this event, was, what was it, 15 years ago this event started?
12. It started in, 14 years ago, excuse me. It started in 2012.
But it's harder now to put on this event, correct?
A lot harder. Back when the race first came to Haines City, you had a lot more orange groves. Obviously today, many of the orange groves are non-existent. So to think traveling from Haines City through Lake Hamilton, Dundee, down to Lake Wells, and back to Haines City, there definitely has to be a collaborative effort between all the local police agencies as well as the Polk County Sheriff's Office. So a lot has changed over the last 14 years. Obviously, the additional rooftops that you mentioned, the amount of vehicular traffic, all of that plays a role into making this event successful.
Yeah, of course. And there's, around 2,000 racers that actually come to this event, and then over 2,000 estimated spectators. What does that kind of foot traffic mean for the city of Haines City?
I think it's great. The economic value that this race brings to Haines City for the local mom and pop shops. I know in previous years, Ironman has contracted with one of the local pizza companies to provide pizza for the athletes, pasta. So there's just great opportunities for the local economy to be boosted by this. On top of that, the local civic groups and organizations also benefit from the volunteer opportunities as well as the monetary value that Ironman provides.
Well, like any event, I know whether it's, for the residents of Haines City, from a trunk or treat to a huge Ironman, you learn from events and you find what the best practices are for that particular event. And really this event being in December was from that. So during the COVID space, there were a number of races that either people weren't traveling to or they didn't occur. That led to kind of a catch-all. I believe in 2021, the event used to be in the March-April time period, but there was a second race in 21 for all those people that basically Ironman said, if you didn't get to race, you can come to Haines City, you don't owe something else. So it was a second race, but everybody fell in love with it being in the month of December. Tell us why that benefited the city of Haines City as far as your schedule, because we all know during the spring, it's busy in Polk County, but this was an opportunity to bring some economic impact and maybe a slightly slower travel season.
Yes, that is accurate. So back in 21, with that second race, Ironman saw the benefit that they had a lot more athletes register for that December race. So with that, the following year did the same thing again. And as Eric mentioned, I think they're anticipating about 2,000 athletes. The event will sell out. And with that, it's a busy time for us as we have our Christmas parade, our glitter, glisten, and snow event, breakfast with Santa, all those events. But again, we've done this for a many number of years, great partnerships with everybody. So it's a very well-oiled machine at this point. Obviously being in Florida, March or April, it's hot. December, generally it's going to be a lot cooler. Many of the athletes appreciate that. Typically it's going to be wetsuit legal for them. So many of the athletes prefer those, that cooler weather and all the hills and the beautiful sun, but it's much better when it's 60 degrees versus 90 degrees for the race. So.
Yeah, and, I recently saw Lake Eva Park for the first time and went out there, and I was kind of taken away by just not only, like, the views, but, all the grass, greenery, all the, beautiful buildings over there. I was wondering how much that park means to the city of Haines City, just to have that for not only, organizations to have events there, but just, families to go out and walk it and everything like that.
Yes, Lake Eva Park is definitely what we would consider a destination park. It encompasses the Lake Eva Aquatic Center, the Lake Eva Event Center, lots of open green space, tennis courts, the Lake Eva Community Center is there for basketball, weightlifting, the open green space that you mentioned for the picnics. The lake is there, the beautiful views. So just so much to offer. We consider the Lake Eva property kind of our crown jewel.
I've heard it been called a crown jewel before.
So definitely, even some beautiful sunsets for weddings and pictures. So just a lot to offer.
I think it's a perfect example of, because if I remember correctly, Kelly Callahan, when he was there and through the CRA, they got that facility built. But that facility is a perfect example of quality of life for the residents, but also an investment that was made that can attract a major event like Ironman, and facility development. We're here at the Lake Myrtle Sports Park, and that's a perfect example as well. So these investments with these communities, these partnerships, not only generate hundreds of millions of dollars, but that quality of life piece, and you guys certainly have it in Haines City. But I've heard you have, I heard because you told me, but you you have some other projects that are going on right now. Maybe or maybe not we'll get access for some of those sporting events, but talk about some of the facility development that Haines City's looking at.
So we're on the cusp now of putting artificial turf at the Myers and Wiley football complex, as well as our Haines City soccer complex that we opened up this past November. On the horizon is what we're calling now, having given it an official name, the 32-acre sports complex, which will feature synthetic 4 baseball diamond fields, 2 multi-purpose fields, volleyball, a splash pad, as well as some pickleball courts and basketball. On top of that, we just acquired I think about 7 acres of property right next to the Larry Parrish Baseball Complex that will complement that site, that will definitely add some much needed parking for that facility. So a lot on the horizon. We anticipate that project being around $30 million. So very excited about that project.
Very nice. And, we spoke a little bit about, how busy your schedule gets these days. But for those who don't know, it's about to get a little bit more busy next August because you were sworn in as the Florida State Parks and Recreation and Park Association president recently last August. So talk about that role and what that's going to mean. Obviously it'll come with a lot more busy schedule, but what it means for just everything you're doing.
So right now I serve as the vice president for the Florida Recreation and Parks Association. August of 26, I will be sworn in as the president of the association for the entire state of Florida. And with that, I have the opportunity to be a voice for all my fellow Parks and Rec professionals throughout the state of Florida. So definitely looking forward to that as we continue to move the Parks and Rec profession forward here in Florida.
I think that's a great question, and congratulations on that role because of the spotlight it brings on Polk County, because I truly believe, because I've seen it for 25 years, that Polk County does it right. And Dan Talbot in our previous segment was talking about partnerships and all that, but Visit Central Florida Sports, we don't own facilities. Of course, we're part of the Board of County Commissioners, and Parks and Recreation has facilities, and we certainly use those. But we rely on our municipal partners for those facilities and access to those facilities, so that those new dollars, because remember, tourism and sports marketing operates off the bed tax, not off the general fund. And so it's bringing new dollars into Polk County, but it's also those visitors that are coming into Polk County are funding those investments and those programs. And so an event like Ironman that can impact, you look at Russ Matt up in Davenport, the number of people that are staying in the Haines City area. So really getting it county-wide, so that connectivity and, you can learn a lot in the textbook, but it really ends up with who you know, sometimes not what you know. show. Talk about, as we've got about 2 minutes left, why that was important for you in your role with the city of Haines City to have that connectivity statewide.
Yeah, so that opens up a lot of doors for us in Haines City. Again, great partnership with Visit Central Florida, great partnership with all of the neighboring municipalities, Julie over in Winter Haven, Danny McLean up in Davenport, Cody over in Auburndale. So just a great opportunity. And what that does, it puts us in a position to not necessarily reinvent the wheel when your colleagues are a phone call away or a 15-minute drive away. To collaborate with them on whether it's parades or Ironman, whatever it may be, just different events. So that has been a key. And I think my role being with FRPA definitely will open up some doors because, again, I get to be a voice for the entire state of Florida, getting the opportunity to travel around the state to some of the bigger cities to see what they're doing and hopefully bring some of those things back to Polk County, Haines City, and enhance what we do here.
So if you're watching this show and you wonder what is the Senior Director of Athletics for Polk County Public Schools and what does the Parks and Rec Director of Haines City have to do with sports? Everything, especially in Polk County because the facilities. Terrell, thank you so much. Appreciate you and your whole staff because without your crew, the Ironman event and the millions of dollars that come into Polk County from that event would not be possible.
And if I may add, I would be amiss if I don't mention my staff. Obviously, being the director, I get to take the credit for things, but I have a phenomenal staff. My special event supervisor, Jill Latimer, who also serves as the volunteer coordinator for the Ironman race. So very appreciative of my team. I could not do the things I do without them. So
absolutely. And the same is true for me here at Visit Central Florida Sports. Terrell, thank you so much.